I'm Fadza.
I'm Dylan.
And welcome to the podcast where we discuss the things we love,
The things we hated,
and the things that made us say,
what in the noughties? Hi, Vajay.
Hello, Dylan.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. It's been a bit of a productive. Well, I wouldn't even say that productive, but I got up early, and I feel like every time I get up really early and I get stuff done, I'm like, yes, well done me. But then I normally twist it too far in the opposite direction, and then like by 3 p.m. I'm like, well, I've done a lot of this stuff in the morning. Let me take a break, and then I do nothing for the rest of the day. But that's not interesting. How I'm really excited that we're still recording. We got our YouTube channel up and running. We got our first video out like this week. 'Cause, you know, we're very organized people, so we record these like a little bit in advance. So we just got the first like comments in from the YouTube video, and the fans are loving it.
I love that. Exciting.
Lovely. Yeah, it is very exciting. Although what's a little bit less exciting is that our audience is now turning into a family affair, and it's making me nervous.
Yes, my dad did listen in for the first time ever yesterday.
Oh God, I got so scared when you sent that message. I was like, no, surely not.
He told us that it's fantastic, but to tone down on the swearing.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm hashtag nervous.
The thing is, if there's one thing you should know about my dad, it's that he hates swearing more than anything. So
I don't know why I'm getting
it did
so
make
nervous.
me really nervous. But yeah, he does really hate swearing. But he was like, oh, it wasn't too bad. I got through it because it was mostly Dylan. And I was like,
That is true though, to be fair. To be fair, it is only me, and I would say that, you know, it's Persona that I'm playing on Peterson, so I'm not like
yeah. Except for a few episodes, but like that's only because Dylan told me to swear more. I'm just saying, if you're watching this, Dad, Dylan and Charlene were like, yeah, you don't really use language.
I was gonna say, make sure your dad doesn't listen to the Twilight episode though. Though in general, I would rather not.
Absolutely not.
I would rather you did.
No, your mum did, didn't she?
Yeah, my mum did. I don't know why. I just don't care that my mum's listened to most of them. She enjoys it though. She loves it. She listens to it in the car, is what she says.
Yeah.
When she's driving around at work, she always listens to it to and from places. But in regards to our YouTube channel, I keep on forgetting that like we're actually recording, so I'm looking everywhere but the actual camera. But if you're listening to this and you want to see our beautiful faces, you can watch us at What's in the Noughties pod on YouTube, and you can see us there. You can give us a like, you can give us a comment, which is, I think, maybe the best thing about YouTube is that now you guys can get in on the conversation.
Yes. Scary.
Yeah. I know, it's scary, but really exciting. So leave us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel and get in on the conversation.
Yes, I was gonna say in the previous episode when Charlene commented, she was like, when you guys kept saying Dermot, I kept thinking O'Leary, and I was like, yeah. Are you confused about that?
No, she meant as in like every time Dylan was talking about Dermot, she was like, surely he can't mean O'Leary.
Oh.
She was like, surely he's thinking of a different Dermot. Which
No, yeah. He looks the same as well. It's
I'm
funny.
gonna stand by my man.
He's
standing by.
yeah.
No, he doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same. I'm not attracted to it.
He's not going.
No, yeah, he looks similar. He's aged
that
well.
much.
He's aged well. I'm just saying that like 2000s Dermot, like that was. Hey.
Oh. I disagree.
Cool. And speaking of Dermot, this episode we're gonna go back to doing like one of our classics episodes from season 1, where we pick a topic and we are gonna pick our best, our worst, and the weirdest of the topic. And this week our topic is live auditions, like talent show auditions, like basically just reality TV show auditions, which I think most people know what that means. I don't think I need to explain that.
No. I just want to point out though that last week you had a massive go at me for not really asking me how I was. This week you didn't ask me how I am. So anyway, moving on.
That's how the conversation started.
Moving on, but you didn't really ask me.
That's how the conversation started.
You just allowed me to be like, good.
I said,
and then
how
you
are
went,
you?
Anyway, listen to how I'm doing. Let me give you a dissection of my week.
Do you know what's funny? I'm gonna commit to it now. I'm gonna put a clip back in of the start of this conversation, and you're gonna be able to see that I asked you how you are, and then you asked me how I was, and I chose to expand. You chose not to. Hi, Fadzi.
Hello, Dylan.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. It's been
We're doing auditions today.
Oh my god, whatever. Yeah, we're doing auditions. And honestly, this just reminded me of why I loved X Factor back in the day. Because I can't stand it now, but that's because it's so overproduced and over dramatized. And now, back in the day, back in the early 2000s when the show started, it was insane. It was crazy.
It was indeed.
I think
it was very natural though. It was just like, yeah.
It's like, I think all the weird people had nothing to gain, basically.
Yeah.
Like they just went on it to be weird because they are weird people, and it was just so organic. And on top of that, I also think I'm not even saying I still believe that like some of these people were actors, but I also don't think that like the judges knew that. I think the judges also kind of knew that, but I don't think they knew who was like an actor and who was like playing a bit as opposed to like who was like a genuinely like unhinged person. And a lot of people unhinged. And another thing that reminds me of what I was gonna say. A lot of like so many people just look normal, which I kind of love. Like you don't see normal on TV anymore.
Yeah. But I also think in terms of like the good auditions, you got really good auditions because people had a lot to gain at the same time if you were good. So you had like some really big artists now who audition on the X Factor because you could become big. Whereas nowadays it's like, I think it kind of peaked at like Little Mix, One Direction and Fifth Harmony. After that it kind of flopped. There's not really been, maybe Callum Scott is the only other person who
I think that was the last
made
one.
waves. And that was the last person.
Yeah. Like who won the last two X Factors? Does it like
no clue.
I'm very surprised.
Even The Voice have never done anything with anyone.
Oh my gosh, The Voice is
go on that show.
I know, and the thing about The Voice is like you actually have to be like, I think the vetting process before you even get to like the chair turning around bit is quite like rigorous. Everyone that goes on The Voice is like is actually a really good singer. And I'm like, you do all that just for like what 10 people to watch the finale?
Yeah.
Pretty sure there was like a Zimbabwean girl that won a couple years ago. She was like 16 or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't even remember her name. I should. I don't know what she did. I think she signed to will.i.am's label. will.i.am's
label must be a flop. At least Simon Cowell was controversial for many reasons, but at least he made his stars.
Sorry, I've got to stick up. I remember watching back in the day and I thought Simon Cowell's the worst person in the world. Sorry, Simon Cowell is a comedian. Simon Cowell is great TV. He was nearly my best. Just in general, it was just going to be Simon Cowell, full stop. Because I accidentally, I intended on doing, different shows, but I just fell down a well of X Factor. And one of my worst is Britain's Got Talent. But I fell down a hole of just watching X Factor auditions. Simon Cowell's brilliant. He was so nasty, but, it was clear that it was for the cameras. It's fantastic.
Dylan's talking like he's just discovered Simon Cowell.
I don't know, because I always have this image of Simon Cowell being, being mean. But then watching it back, I'm like,
he wasn't funny.
He wasn't just mean, he was extremely funny.
Yeah, he was.
I love villains on TV now.
Yeah. He's a large reason why people carried on watching. It's not
honestly. Ridiculous. I also put down I miss Simon Cowell's old face. Because, Does
he still host these days? He does,
I
doesn't he?
think
Britain's
so,
Got
yeah.
Talent.
I think he's
I'm not
still.
watching them.
I think he still gets plopped on chairs around the country and around the globe, and is made to watch some mediocre acts. Mediocre acts even.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Well, I don't know if I bless him because he's not a great person. So.
No, he's not. But he's also great TV, so I can't. I can't dispute it.
Yeah, he's. Yeah.
Gosh. Well,
made and destroyed a lot of people's careers, as in,
no, honestly,
not paid them an ounce of money once they got famous. But yes,
who is that about?
all of them, like all of his
Really?
artists, they all hate being on his label because he doesn't pay them money. They all get into really bad contracts with them.
I can't say I'm surprised, to be honest. I genuinely.
Like, who was it who complained the other day? Rebecca Ferguson made this whole like long video series on TikTok talking about how she never got paid. Jedward also talk about how they had a really bad experience. Who else is it? I think Leona Lewis as well as another person. And then
That's a serious one, actually.
Fifth Harmony as well. But I don't know if that's all directly him, but it's like shortly after the contract they got into was just not like.
Is he like Columbia Records maybe or RCA? Because I know that allegedly they're notoriously bad for
one of something like that, but I don't know if it's the connections. He just doesn't set his artists up very well, I don't think, because Fifth Harmony, they had a really terrible time getting out of that contract.
Bless
so
him.
Yeah.
Gosh. And now actually no, I said no. I was gonna say Normani's in a bad contract, but I don't know if it's her contract or if it's just her.
Who knows?
No, she could have actually been the number one like R&B girl right now.
Yeah, but she has a go.
She released Wild Side and then she just disappeared again. Sorry, say that again.
Anyone who says that about her, she has a massive go at them. She's like, shut the fuck up. Sorry for swearing, Daz, if you're listening. But she does. I'm just verbatim saying what she says. She just has a go.
If you're not watching, Fuzzy, I can actually see the bits of sweat dripping down Fuzzy's forehead.
I know. But yeah, she just doesn't like it. So I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know. Let's not
I
speculate.
think it's too many artists who are prioritizing their mental health these days. That's what's going on. That's what's the downfall of pop is mental health.
And that's a soundbite.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if we want to talk about the downfall of people's mental health, should we go on to our best?
I'm looking at you, Rihanna. What happened to like? Yeah, you've had a baby, but keep going, girl. Like, oh my goodness, do take time off to raise your kids. What happened to pop stars? That's what I'm saying. Like, work, bitch. I'm sorry. Britney said it best. Come on now. I stand by it.
Should we go on to our best? I'm not even going to touch that with the top. I'm going to let you take all the heat for that.
Come at me. I'm just being real.
You know, sometimes there are moments of the podcast where I'm like, I can see the TikTok that I'm going to post, and that right there was one of them. Oh, gosh, thank you for that. Anyway, I'm going to start with my best, which is, unless, do you want to go first? Since it's a new season, new order.
I can go first, yeah?
Yeah. I want to hear what yours is.
So my best, this one hurts me to even say, but it is, and it's giving me like a bit of anxiety. I don't know why, I'm just getting anxiety. But anyway, it's Susan Boyle.
Oh, that's actually really nice.
Because everyone was so shocked.
That was really nice, actually.
It was such a good moment. Did you not think of that? Why are you eyeing? And she's really good.
Because it's really nice. I'm just looking at my best as me making fun of people. And I'm like,
no. I was really serious about mine. Mine was like good artist. So I went for Susan Boyle because she's amazing and she's honestly made a career just from being herself. And she was like being bullied for a while. Especially
honestly,
the show before the show, she was bullied for the way she looks.
Yeah, she was. That was not very nice. Sorry, I'm smiling, but not because of that.
I
keep on forgetting that people can see me. No, I'm smiling because I was gonna say that I genuinely don't know if she'd get onto TV now because she's a very normal looking person. Like I don't think that like normal people don't get on TV anymore. Like
but people thought she was ugly.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
So
yeah, I also didn't. Susan Boyle was nearly my weirdest because I was like, I didn't quite. I was like, at the time, I
remember, like a 30-year-old virgin, wasn't she? Like something like that.
I just like it always felt like it was like she's ugly and she can sing. And I was like, okay, guys, can we just focus on the fact that she has an amazing voice? Her cover of "I Dreamed a Dream" is
for ugly people everywhere. Like you can still reach heights.
Honestly, yeah, it's just like
be like societally unattractive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm too nervous to talk about this one. I remember her
it's always me who does
her cover of "I Dreamed a Dream" is fantastic, is what I will say.
Wild Horses, kind of iconic. I used to talk to someone who would play that a lot, so that's why it kind of gives me like
PTSD.
Yeah. PTSD. Like would put on like Wild Horses and be like, it was just so iconic, it makes me emotional. And yeah, it was funny at the time, but like now I'm like,
oh gosh, you and music triggering you. It's quite funny actually.
It's it's also like, I think it's because anyone I talk to, it's like funny people, so it's always just random things that are just a bit like,
So I have a friend who like her advice to me was like, don't ever share your favorite music. I think I've told you this before,
but I see them say that.
Don't ever share your favorite music, because she couldn't listen to like her favorite bands for like 2 years, or like I think it was like 2 or 3 years after she broke up with like her like sixth form boyfriend, because they shared a music taste. And now every time she listens to that, but I think it was like Fall Out Boy and stuff, whenever she listens to them, she's just like, this is just reminded me of that asshole.
And someone was like, don't ever watch your comfort movie, because then you're going to want to watch that when you break up or when you stop talking. But it's like, if you watch that together, now it's forever attached to that person. No, I'm never going to do that. I need to actually make a list of things, because obviously when you get overexcited, you want to share things with someone. But I think I need to make a list of things that I'm never, ever going to
share with a partner. I think I will... I'll have to experience the shivers that you get, and then I'll decide.
Dylan's never been emotionally affected by a single person ever, whereas I'm very easily emotionally affected by people. So I think that's my difference.
I wanted to disagree with you there, but whatever.
I also think it's like, you're not special. Everyone emotionally affects me, so shut up. If I get people like, oh yeah, like you're obsessed with me. It's like, no, I'm just like this with like literally everyone who walks into my life. So, shut up.
Like,
wrong.
For 10 minutes, and now I'm attached to them as well. So like,
yeah,
you ain't nothing. You ain't nothing.
It's like
better.
Off topic a bit, but there's this guy that I met in the first year of uni, Freshers Week, and he was gay, by the way, so it wasn't like a thing of me like being romantically into him. But
could have been.
It was like,
what, you're saying? Anyway. Gay people can't be attractive? Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Why would I fancy someone who's not going to fancy me back? Why would I fancy someone who's not going to fancy me back? Anyway, but the way that we met is we were just like in the hall for Freshers Week. There was like this hall that we had, and he took me from behind, like my hand from behind, not my hand. Not
I didn't say that.
shut up. My hand he just grabbed my hand. Anyway, guys, let me tell the story.
She's getting
Stop laughing
flustered.
at me. It was a wrong use of words.
He took your hand, yes.
And he twirled me around.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, your hair looks gorgeous. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then we were just dancing to Dancing Queen.
Oh, that's really cute.
And it was like, we just, you know, when you meet someone, and I always think about this, and I'm like, I met him and I was like, you are my soulmate. Like, you just, you know, I don't know, I just have like people I meet where they just give off like such a big dopamine rush to me that I'm like, we're soulmates. I like, you just have the exact aura that I love in people. And
see, I think for me, if I get along with someone too quickly, that's normally a very bad sign. But just because I have a history of once that happens is like a month later, I'm like, oh, you're literally the worst person in the world. And not because of anything to do with me, but just because I get to know them better. I'm like, oh, the reason why you attached on so quickly is because you don't have any close friends. But
oh yeah. See, for me, I think I'm just like an immediate connections type of girl. If I don't connect to someone pretty quickly, I'm probably never going to connect to them deeply.
I think I'm the opposite, where like sometimes it takes me like a year before I'm like, oh my God, this person's actually like, they're sick. Gosh, really
I
making me
can't
seem
think of
like
anyone I've had like deep connections with after like a year of knowing them. I do like gradually get closer to people, but I would have already met them the first time and been like, they're so cool, I need to be friends with them.
Okay, not saying that like I meet people I don't like them, but just more that like when I have really close friends,
You're just a slow burner.
Unexpected people, yeah. Like I would say,
yeah.
I hope she agrees with this, but I would say like Leanne was one of those people who I was not expecting to like be as close as we are for as long as we have been close for, because I feel like at school we were good friends at school. But then I was like, I didn't expect her to be like someone that I was like now like one of my best friends, because I'm like, oh, looking back, I was like, oh, that was a slow burn. It was a nice slow burn. And now looking back, I'm like, oh no, of course, yeah, of course.
I think I'm just different to that.
Like, I didn't think that at all.
Well, for me, for example, with Laura, I remember the day I just knew I wanted to be friends with her from the first day that we were in ICT class together. We had other classes too, but like it was in ICT. And then I remember she'd talk about music and I'd be like, we have the exact same music taste. She would love me, but I just didn't know how to like gather, you know, make my way into a conversation, because it would just be me over here and talking to other people. And then one day she turned around. I think she had the same vibe with me though, because then one day she turned around to me and it was Check It Out with will.i.am and Nicki Minaj playing, and she was like, what song is this? And I was like, it's Check It Out by will.i.am and Nicki Minaj. And then she's like, oh, I really like this song. And I was like, oh my God, me too. And then from there we were besties.
Oh, that's really cute actually.
I literally remember it because I was like looking for a way for ages, and I was like, this is my moment.
This is my moment. My moment. That's Rebecca Black.
To conclude my thought, I was going to say that guy who twirled me around, we met on Freshers Week and he kind of left after 2 weeks of uni and quit. I still think of him fondly now. Like I still think of him as like, oh my God, we could have been best friends. So I just want to say, like, I get attached to people and like hold on for a really long time. It's not because you're special. I just do that with people.
I was thinking about this exact thought I had like a couple months ago. Where I was just like, there's so many people in my life where I'm like, if circumstances were different, like that was like kind of like a mixed connection. I'm like, we could have been like best friends if we'd met like in a different place. Because I have a friend like that at uni who like I was really good friends with her, but like I became friends with her like when she was in her last year and during like last term. So then it was like once she left, it was like we weren't close enough to like be messaging all the time, but it was like, oh, we really got along. And like every time that I've seen her since, it's always been like, ah.
Yeah. And I always just recreate, like, sometimes there's like so many moments, like certain moments in your life, they just feel like a movie when you're like, this was such a good moment. So if you brought those type of memories to me, I'm just going to remember in general, like the good and the bad, but also just the memories where I'm just like, oh, that was iconic. So that moment, I'm always like, oh, we could have been best friends.
We could have been something.
I saw him one more time. Like he left and then he came back just one night out, and I saw him. I don't know if this was a dream, but I think it was real. But I saw him. I'm pretty sure it was real. I saw him and he came over to me and he was like, do you want to speak in the smoking area? So we went to the smoking area and I was like, oh my God, where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. And then he was just like, oh, I left. But then he was like, I just want to tell you, like, enjoy university, enjoy it. Like, he just gave me this life motivation speech. He's like, just enjoy life. Like, it was like a goodbye. And then I was like, oh my God, bye. And then I just never saw him again.
This sounds like it was real because the fact that it happened in the smoking, this is a smoking era conversation.
Yeah, it is. But it really is. So then,
really
it was like one of those moments. We still have each other on Facebook, but I don't care to be friends with him. But I still hold on to that memory and think we could have been such good friends. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, we don't have to revive it, but I like to think of you fondly. You know, I'm like that type of person.
Oh gosh.
Moving on. What's yours?
I don't even know how we got here, but yeah, I'm gonna move on to my best. my best audition. Oh gosh, I need to get my brain back in X Factor now. After that,
conversations. Come on, Dylan.
So my best is well, actually no, I'll talk about what my best used to be until I found out some other information. But my best is Moms on the Run, which was an X Factor audition. I think all mine are from 2008. But
okay.
Moms on the Run, you're gonna know who they are because once I get to the climax of the story, I've written it all out here, and I've chronicled exactly what happened. So Moms on the Run were two sisters and a sister-in-law. Gosh, it was so funny because they come in, they're like, how do you three know each other? Like, oh, we're sisters. And then Simon literally just instantly goes, you look nothing alike. And they really do not look anything alike, and it's so funny. And they're telling Dermot outside, who is the host of the 2008 X Factor.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, no, he was literally. I'm wondering.
That's one thing about UK hosts. They just never, like, once they find one, they never let them go. They give them every single job opportunity ever for the next 60 years.
I think it's because the UK, I don't know what it is, but the UK like talent pool is, it must be tiny, like the one that they pull from.
That's the thing. It's big. It's just they just don't like to like allow new people.
Because like ITV, BBC, all of them use the same 5 actors in all their dramas. Like the amount of times.
That's why people are moving to America, and I've heard loads of people who want to be hosting who are also moving to LA and like that kind, and New York and those kind of places, because the UK just doesn't. They only allow like one person at a time for some reason.
Wow.
Anyway,
well, hopefully.
No shade.
Hopefully, Steph, if you're listening to this, maybe either move to the US or hopefully you'll be that one person for the next 60 years.
Yeah.
You'll be the next Claudia. That was me doing Claudia's bangs, by the way. You didn't get it. But anyway, they're outside telling Dermot that you know, we can, with a whole package, we can sing, we can act. They get inside, they're like, we're a woman group, not a girl group, because they're all like mid to late 40s. I won't say their ages, but they put their ages up on their screen, and I was like, I don't feel like this was necessary. And so they start singing, and oh my god, it is so beautiful. They sing, then one in the middle is doing most of the chorus, and then the ones on the side are going like chip 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 chip, and like doing like little choreographed dance moves. And then we get to the piece de resistance, the magnus opus of Moms on the Run, which is where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? Have you seen that clip?
No, I haven't.
Have you not seen that clip? No, you have seen it. Have you not seen the clip where like it's like people use it about Tracy Beaker all the time?
Oh, maybe I have actually.
There's a clip where it's like, where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? It's so funny. And then it ends, and literally the judges table, like it pans to Simon. Simon's literally frozen. It pans to Danny. Danny is like hiding behind her fingers, not able to look at the group. It pans to Sharon, whose mouth is literally like on the desk because she's so shocked. And then Louis just starts laughing so hard, and the woman group are looking around at each other. And then Louis like, "Do you have another song?" And then Simon instantly like cuts in. It's like, "No more singing." Oh gosh, no, it's so funny. And Simon calls them the worst girl group that they've seen in Scotland.
Oh my gosh, that's so harsh.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, Simon was really mean. He was just like, well, that was. He was like, "Do you know? I would say that you are the worst group that we've heard. No, not even girl group. He says the worst group we've heard in Scotland so far." And they're like, "I think that's a bit harsh." They're like, "Not the worst." And it's like, "Yes, the worst." And then they obviously get their 4 no's and they go outside. And Dermot is such a little stirrer because he's just like, "Oh, how did it go?" And they're like, "These are the worst in Scotland." And it's like, "Oh, surely not." And I'm like, Dermot, I know you had your ear pressed against the door, and I know you heard what everyone else heard. But yeah, that was my best. It was mainly because of the "Where's Your Mama Gone" bit, and then the judges' reactions were just, they killed me. They absolutely offered me.
No. I need to listen to it now. I need to go through it because
No, definitely.
I'm trying to picture it.
Mum's on the Run. It is everything that I want to be when I'm in my 40s.
I think a nice segue for me going to my... Can I go weirdest next instead of worst, or are we doing...
Yeah.
Okay, so for my weirdest, it's also family members. I just want to say every single audition that involved siblings or twins, weird. It was very rarely that it worked. But twins, especially identical twins, not the vibe.
Who's the twins that you picked? I'm trying to think because I think I have twins in my head that I'm thinking of, but go on.
I picked the Krogan twins.
I don't know who they are.
So they came in like these pretty bad bobs. A bob. They came in like a black bob with a fringe, and they were like, "What about those wigs that you're wearing?" And they're like, "It's not a wig, it's our real hair." And they're like shaking their heads, and it was real. It was it looked like the worst. It looked like the dodgiest wig that you could ever get from Amazon. That is what it looked like. It was real.
The same haircut over the age of 10.
And they were wearing identical outfits as well. That made it worse. Like identical, like a sweatshirt, yellow sweatshirt, and it was.
Did you see that tweeted, or like she quote tweeted, of those twins from TLC who have the same boyfriend?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's giving those vibes. Yeah, it's giving those vibes. It was.
So
it's me. He's got to kiss her.
Twins are weird sometimes. Sorry, identical twins can be, not all, but some. And then what do they do? They basically sing at graveyard sites. That's like their job. So they were like, "What song are you going to perform?" And they were like, "What's the number one song that you perform at graveyards?" And they were like, "Actually, it's the song that we're going to perform today, Arms of an Angel." So then they start being like, "In the arms of an angel."
Quick question.
Together.
When they say they're graveyards, do they mean they sing at like funerals, or do they mean they sing at literal buried dead bodies?
They didn't elaborate.
Oh my god! Because
I think not. I don't think it dead, but I think it just the graveyards. They just are hired to sing, and they sing at graveyards sometimes.
Because like being a funeral singer, that wouldn't make sense. Great. I'm just imagining them in the darkness of night, just going out to some grave and just singing at it. So strange. Sorry, carry on.
Well, that's mostly my point. Simon Cowell was like, "This is killing me off even more," basically. Like, this would definitely send me to the crematorium. So, and I was like, I kind of agree.
Simon is so funny.
I love how Dylan's just discovering Simon Cowell for the first time ever this week.
It's because
I spent
my childhood thinking that he was a villain, and now I'm realizing that he's really funny, actually.
care.
It's
Yeah,
just
I think maybe
shady.
because I'm older than you that I always knew.
You are.
Well, shut up. Now that was shade for no reason.
I did it for Rihanna.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, are
No,
you one of the Kroger twins?
yes, I am. There were other twins as well, but I can't remember what they were called. But all the twins, identical twins. It was just weird.
I remember there was twin guys who had the hats and like they were like these skinny twinks, yeah, and they had like fake hair, and I remember them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's who I thought you might be saying, but the Kroger ones was very strange.
I'm gonna
For
have to
my
look it up.
weirdest, I picked the holistic vocal coach, a classic. A classic. Do you know her?
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
She's the one that has she has like kind of like brown hair, but then she had like blonde dreads on top. She's Caucasian, by the way. She had
I
like
do
blonde
think I
dreads
recognise.
on top, and like in her dreads she had like a flower. And the first thing she does is she walks into the room. She goes, first of all, that she rips off her like number tag. She said, "I'm a person, not a number." And all the judges are like, okay. She goes, "My name is I don't know what her first name is. Let me see. She goes, my name is Ariel. My name's Ariel Burdett, and I'm a holistic vocal coach. I'm a generalist, not a specialist. I'm here to showcase my voice." And they're like, and Simon's like, "Okay, so what are you again?" She's like, "A holistic vocal coach." And he's like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Right, so I don't teach just how to sing. I take into account people's bodies and the voices that they can produce with that, and I help them with that." And Simon's like, "All right, just sing your song."
Yeah.
And so she does this insane song where like it's actually like quite smart in the sense of like being creative, but then in like, sonically it's not very nice to listen to. But she like does a thing where every sentence she sings a different like genre of music. So like she'll be like, "I'm singing country, and then I'll sing some opera, and I can give you rock and roll." Literally is how she sounded on the audition. Then she gets to the end and they are literally stunned. And all Simon says, it just goes, Simon just like doesn't miss a beat, just goes, "A complete and utter nightmare." He's like, "That was one of the most atrocious things I have ever heard." And it says like everything about you is atrocious. Even your hair is atrocious. And she starts getting so angry. And I missed out a whole bit at the start where like she kind of like, I don't know what's going on at the start, but she has it out for Cheryl because Cheryl asks her name, and like she kind of like gives Cheryl one of those like a head bob, and she's like, yeah. She says, "My name's Ariel." And then Cheryl's like, "Can you step on the red X, please?" And then she looks at her, she says, "I can." And then Cheryl, like, after she's done singing, she's like, "Listen, if I went
That would be me, by the way, with Cheryl.
just like, I was
Me
like,
and my Cheryl Cole hatred.
Well, Cheryl Cole says, well, she's like, "If I went to you as a student, I'd be terrified of you. Like, I thought you were gonna hit me." And to be honest, I'm pretty sure Cheryl would have swung first if she was black.
Oof.
If you don't understand that joke, you've got to listen to one of our old episodes where we talk about Cheryl's alleged racial attacks. But she basically just starts arguing with the judges and saying like, "You don't understand it. Like, what I did was academically very complicated, and that's why you don't understand it." And the judge is like, "It was bad. We don't care." And then she gets sent off. And outside, once again, Dermot is staring the pot, being like, "How could they not understand?" And she's like, "I know." And yeah, that was the queen that is Ariel Burdett, the holistic vocal coach. Wonderful. I loved it though. She's an icon. She's an
Holistic
icon.
vocal coach is something else.
Yeah. And
I'm sure she gets paid decently.
I'll do a little wrap up at the end.
Oh. Oops. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, yeah, all right, you're worst.
My worst. So my worst. It's a tough one to pick, but I'm gonna go for. I think my worst are kind of my best in a way. I'm gonna go for all like either the regulars or the ones who couldn't take no for an answer.
Oh my god, I love the people that can take no for an answer.
It's best and worst because it's like you're the worst, but like you're also the best. It's what made the show. So I'm gonna go for Darling Kelly. Is mine.
Yes, she was nearly one of mine.
Who compared herself to Celine Dion.
Gosh, do you know what I was meant to say earlier? Every single person I watched was it was always Celine Dion was one of them, but the main one, every person seems to want to be Whitney Houston.
Yeah, they always tried to sing Whitney. It was like a thing in American Idol where it was like, don't sing Whitney.
Yeah, because you shouldn't.
No.
Because Whitney not outsold, but Whitney covered a Dolly Parton song and made it her own. Like, that takes extreme vocal talent to do.
Did she not outsell it? She probably did.
Yeah, she did. I didn't want to say that there because I like Dolly Parton.
I love Dolly. No, I do.
But even Dolly was like, yeah. Even Dolly was like, that's not my song.
Yeah.
They wrote it.
Yeah. So Kelly sang I Will Always Love You.
Oh my god.
Iconic.
What a choice.
I love that she thought she could do that. Obviously, she sang it terribly, and Simon gave her a 2 out of 10, 2.5 out of 10. He said.
On a good day.
And at first, it was like she kind of accepted it, but then she came back in with her dad, and her dad was like, "Oh no, I think she should just give her another chance, Simon. Give her another chance." And then he was like, "No, you're feeding into this delusion." And he's like, "I think she should sing again." Like,
Simon is so funny that the way he like when he's like, "Who are you?" is like the dad. Well, then I guess it is your fault that she came here and did this in the first place. She's awful, your daughter, by the way. I was like, Simon, that's her dad.
Yeah. Do you know? Yes. So those ones were like, that was like my definite worst. But it was a close match with, there's Emma Samantha, who would just come every single year. So she came one year, failed, and he was like, "You're terrible." Then she came back the next year with her sister, and she did it again. He was like, "You're still terrible." Just with your sister this time. She'd been like kicked out of her house because she was singing it outside at 3 a.m. So they got evicted. And she was back, and she still was just as bad. And then the dad, when Dermot, I think it was Dermot who asked, he was like, yeah, maybe next year. And Dermot was like, "You're coming back next year?" And they were like, yeah. And I was like, and I think that was legit back in those days. Like, she legit was going to come back next year.
Yeah, I'm sure she probably got told no.
But she would have been like a series regular. Samantha.
Did you watch the one where she brought her mother-in-law in?
No.
Oh my god, it was so funny. They just walk in together because I think Simon has been in a bad mood, and so she was nervous. And I don't know why her mother-in-law was there with her in the first place, but she brings her mother-in-law in, and then Simon's like, they're like, "Oh, is this like a duo?" And the mother-in-law comes in, like shakes all the judges' hands, and they're like, "Oh, it's like, are you two singing together?" And she's like, "I'm the mother-in-law," and they're like, "Are you singing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm the mother-in-law," and they're like, "Oh, who's performing here?" And then she performs the daughter-in-law, while the mother-in-law is just stood there watching, and the judges start laughing midway through the performance because it's very bad. And the mother-in-law is absolutely fuming at that. And then they turn to her like, "What did you think of that? Did you like it?" She's like, "Yeah, I loved it. I would have bought 1 million of those records." And they were like, "Okay, well, it's a no from us." And then they go out the room again. The mother-in-law comes back in. Then she goes to Simon Cowell. She's like, "You need to change your ways." It's so funny. I love when Simon gets told off as well.
I really loved Debbie Stevens because I think she told off what's his name, the Welsh one, the Irish one.
Louis Walsh.
Yeah, he's Irish. Yeah. I couldn't stand that man, so I loved it when she gave it to him.
I love Louis.
Oh, I
I love
cannot
Louis.
stand Louis.
Louis,
I'm so
Sharon, and
convinced Louis is
Simon.
racist. I think he's a racist.
Are you
Deeply.
just do you have any evidence, or you just
No, it was always the black artist. He was like me. Every single time he'd be like, "You've got to work on yourself." Like everyone else would love them, and he'd be like, "I thought it was all right."
no? To be fair,
Alright.
one of the things I watched,
I didn't think it was that great at all. Shut
I
up.
was actually a bit upset. There was this guy called Champagne who was singing I Believe I Can Fly. He was so good, but I don't know why the judges just weren't feeling him. And I was like, this is just, they were like, you're wearing glasses. He was wearing a do-rag and they were like, you need to take that thing off your head. And I was like, this is anti-black, actually. And he sounded wonderful, but it was really funny because after he got the first note, he just started singing. Simon was like, champagne. And it was going, I was singing Amazing Grace the second time. He was singing Amazing Grace while Simon was in the background screaming, champagne, champagne, stop it. Champagne, please stop singing. It's a no. And he just kept going, Amazing Grace. It's like the more you sing, the less we want you. Oh, it's very
Bless
funny.
him. I watched that
Very
one as
funny.
well, actually.
But he was very good.
But
I thought he was really good.
But Louis
Champagne.
was really not good.
Oh my God, have you seen? I don't know what's going on. That I watched so many videos of like people coming in and being obsessed with Louis specifically, and being like, Louis, I love you. Someone sang "I Will Always Love You" and they dedicated it to Louis. There was one girl that came in and she's like, I'm the leader of the Louis Walsh fan club, and she'd print off her website. Oh, I wish I wrote down the poem, but she had like a poem that she'd written him as well. And it was so funny because then Simon was like, do you know what, Louis, you can take this one by yourself. And like he stands up and him and Sharon walk behind the cameras. And so it's just Louis and she's singing some sort of love ballad to him. And she's obviously awful. But Louis like, yeah, that was do you know what? You're a very lovely girl. You got a beautiful voice. Do you know, it's gonna be a yes from me. And then he turns to Simon and Sharon's like, Simon and Sharon, what do you think? They're like, Louis, it's up to you. If you want to give her a yes, you give her a yes. And then he's like, well, I guess you're through the next round. It was very funny. Very funny.
God, I hate that man.
I watched 3 videos today where Louis got like given gifts. Somebody gave him a rose as well at one point. It was very funny. For my worst, I'm taking a trip to Britain's Got Talent because I know we've only talked about X Factor so far. We should have just made this the X Factor episode actually.
We should have.
But Britain's Got Talent season 1 episode 1. I'm bringing it all the way back, and I found this clip by accident because I was trying to find like good Britain's Got Talent auditions, and I was just like skimming through and I saw something. I was like, this looks offensive. And was I correct? Yes. They were in Manchester. Oh God, the acts. Well, it was Brian and Melanie, who are a father and daughter duo who did knife throwing essentially. So Brian was going to be throwing the knives at Melanie. But the reason why it caught my attention was because they were dressed like Native Americans. And I'm not just talking like just a head wrap. I mean, he painted his whole face, like the top half of his face was painted like black. These are white people, by the way, in case you can tell. The whole top of his face was painted black. He had like a huge like headscarf. And their stage names, Brian was called Little Firewater and Melanie was called White Dove. And I was like, this is just not right. And then it got onto the actual talent portion. Well, no, before the show, Brian was extremely nervous. Like he was literally shaking while sipping water. He was like, I've never performed in front of anyone. And it was Ant and Dec. Ant and Dec were like, there's like 2,000 people out there, which is crazy to think that at this stage, because it was the first season, they only had like a 2,000 person audience. But he was like, there's 2,000 people out there. It's like, I've never performed to like a big group before. I was like, this is not the place to do it for the first time, but okay. Bearing in mind, once again, they are throwing knives. And another reason why this is my worst was because while they're on stage giving their introduction thing, it cuts to Ant and Dec, and I don't know who one of the writers, the short one, he was like, oh, anybody order an Indian? And I was like, excuse me?
That's not funny. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing more so at the fact that they did it.
Like-
I also hate Ant and Dec, by the way. Just to let people know.
Why do you answer that?
They're on my hate list. I just do. I just really do. With a strong passion.
They're like national treasures, which sounds funny to say.
Exactly why I can't stand them.
Considering I just said that they made quite a racist joke. But I was like this, I was watching with my mouth wide open, and then the amazing part starts, which is the actual knife throwing. And it is nail biting to watch, and not in a fun way, because he is obviously very nervous. He sets the knives on fire as well, by the way. And then she stood there like this, with her arms like crossed over her, and she looks extremely nervous. He looks extremely nervous. He starts throwing the knives, and every time he throws them, everyone is getting more and more and more scared. And then just before he throws his fourth knife, one of the knives, which once again is on fire, falls and burns her arm. Like literally burns her arm because it falls onto her, and she yelps, and then they all press the red button. And he keeps on like trying to like argue, be like, no, sorry, I'm just really nervous. And the girl, his daughter's like, no, you just haven't seen how amazing we are. They're like, Simon like turns to her, is like, I don't know why you're getting angry at me, because I just saved your life. It's like your father was about to kill you on stage. Do you not understand that? Oh gosh.
That's literally insane. I think knife throwing and stuff like that really petrifies me. I don't know if I'd want to watch it, even just for entertainment.
Imagine someone who was, I'm not joking, like he was literally like behind his like black face paint, he was literally sweating bullets because he was so nervous, and then he was throwing knives. It was insane, and each time he threw the knife, he looked scared, and I was like, she is gonna die. She is going to get hurt. And at first, I thought that he hit her with the knife, because he nearly hit her one time, like, but not in a like ooh way, but like in a oh, I went a little bit too close way. And then the next knife fell, and then that knife fell onto her, and then that's when they put a stop to it. And I was also like, this is quite funny to see where you know, what's it called, health and safety was back in the day. Because this would not fly now. Or if they were going to do that, they were going to have to be trained professionals, not someone who had thrown a couple knives in his basement. Oh, God.
100%. That reminds me of one that I saw. It was post 2000s, but it was the ice skating siblings one, where from Britain's Got Talent, but not ice skating, but roller skating. And their siblings who roller skate, and he ties something around his neck, either his neck or his hand, and then around the top of her head, so on her head like a headband, and then he spins her around as he's roller skating. Then she starts twirling around as he's spinning around, like really, really quickly as they're like roller skating. He's like that, so she's like moving, and it's just like her whole body controlled by his It was very weird and unsettling. And he's like topless. She's like half naked. They're siblings. It's all just
it's getting weirder and weirder.
Just like overstimulating.
It's getting weirder and weirder. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh gosh. Do you have any honorable mentions for this one? I mean, I feel like we spoke about a lot of them.
So I do have a few honorable mentions. One is from X Factor.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the icon Holly Jervais. We did not mention
Oh my
her.
gosh, yes, she was nearly one of mine as well. I love Holly Jervais.
I thought we had to move on, but like, yes, iconic and obvious.
No, I'm sorry. I literally, when I watched that clip, she's the one that sings "Big Blonde," where Simon's like, "Your mouth was the biggest." For context, she sings "Big Blonde and Beautiful." This is like, once again, this is one where I wanted to question.
I don't even think the people need context. We all know who Holly Jervais is.
It was just in case you don't. She was singing "Big Blonde and Beautiful," but her mouth. Her mouth was like, her mouth was so wide when she was singing. And Simon just turns to her at the end of it, was like, your mouth was the biggest thing I've ever seen.
She was like, She was like a gay Twitter icon for a really long time. Still to this day, I think, kind of an icon.
Sorry, I'm losing it. It's because I
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to find out where she is now. And I stumbled across a wiki, and it's going into the pro Holly Jervais homosexuals and the anti Holly Jervais homosexuals, and I was losing it.
Because it divided the community.
And it was like you can normally tell by the way they decided to judge up. I love the gays so much. Well, I don't know why we just like cling into the most.
Gay or just an anti Holly Jervais gay. There's no like, oh, I don't know her. It's the pro or anti.
I don't know why the gays just cling on to the most random people and just decide you're the icon for the year.
It was like getting stalkerish now, guys. You're becoming stalkerish. Going too far. So I can just imagine being on Twitter in 2010 or whenever it was.
God. Holly Jervais.
It's like, no, because it was back in the day, and then it's also kind of continued over the last like decade. Dylan. You laugh this hard.
It's so funny. I'm sorry. It's literally. Oh no! It's a combination. It's a combination of Simon saying goodbye. Because
oh my gosh. Out of it.
We can have to move on. I can't.
I actually just need to.
I'm sorry.
Let
Okay.
the topic go because he can't breathe.
Okay. We're gonna have to move on. We can't talk about. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
Okay. On a more serious note, I just wanted to say that American Idol was really good. And American Idol, I just feel like I'm moving on too quick. Dylan's like laughing still.
But I'm not gonna stop if we keep on at the topic. We have to move on.
So American Idol was really, really good, and they created like a lot of big stars and had like, you know, really good singers.
Was that Kelly Clarkson who won the first season?
Yeah, there was Kelly Clarkson,
Jay Hard,
Ruben, who was also amazing. I'm not American, so I've not really listened to Ruben's music since, but
I haven't.
Parents always remember him. And then Carrie, did I say Carrie Underwood already? Oh, Carrie Underwood as well. And then in the UK X Factor, Stacey Solomon was also on X Factor. I didn't realise she was.
I remember that.
But American Idol was really good. We used to watch that like a religion.
Yeah, they were actually really talented on that show. Like they generally were trying to make idols.
Yeah, it wasn't just like a comic.
sorry.
Oh my gosh. It was just really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, American Idol was fantastic. Isn't that what was that what Adam Lambert was on as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That show was actually really good for like creating stars. Jennifer Hudson was on that. Oh my gosh, yeah, they actually like genuinely created American Idols. Well done, that show. Oh gosh.
100%.
Okay, in the last like 5 minutes, I just want to do a quick wrap up. I was gonna say one of my worst was Nearly. I know everyone. I remember last time I said that Dawn, the Apprentice jockey, was my favorite. I found out after we recorded the very first episode that she's a homophobe, allegedly.
Oh.
Yeah, so people found her Facebook and her Facebook likes are straight pride, right-wing Bible, against gay pride, straight and loving it. Another straight pride, 1 million supporting, but I think it's something about supporting traditional marriage. So yeah, she was a gay icon that lived and died in a very short amount of time.
Wow.
I just can't believe I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Gosh, I've got to actually just apologize. I have not lost it like that in a very long time. I think that's the hardest I've laughed in like a couple
I've
months.
never seen Dylan laugh that hard in my life.
If you wanna see how hard I was laughing, check out YouTube because you'll see that I was genuinely crying. I can't even say her name. Anyway. So I had something else to say, but it's actually it was gonna be way too bleak. It was gonna be way too bleak, and it feels really inappropriate now. So we can unless do you have any other honorable mentions?
I mean, tell us now. What?
No, because it's actually I was gonna say the holistic vocal coach is no longer with us.
Oh.
Yeah, she died in 2020. Yeah, I know. I wasn't joking when I said it was bleak, but it just feels inappropriate now that I've just cried with laughter. Holly Jervais. That's why when you were like, "Oh, I hope she's making a lot of money," I was like, "Zoinks! I don't think she is." But yeah.
Then why did you say that?
Because you were saying that I had to say it, Fuzzy.
But you should have just not said it.
Oh my god! Now I'm the bad guy for doing what you wanted after I said I don't want to say it. Gosh, sorry to leave you guys on a bit of a downer note. Sorry.
Okay.
So if you enjoyed this episode,
okay. Even next week, I guess.
What a weird episode. This has been such a strange episode. Okay. If you enjoyed this absolute madness, please follow us on our socials at What in the Naughties. That's at What in the 00s on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and I keep on saying it, but now on our YouTube channel. And if you're on our YouTube channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and tell us like some of your favorite YouTube moments, or not YouTube moments, sorry, some of your favorite auditions from shows maybe that weren't X Factor, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe your favorite was also Holly Jervais. Next time we have another one of our deep dive episodes, and we are doing Boy Meets Boy / Playing It Straight UK next time.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Which is, do you want to explain what it is, Fuzzy?
Putting you on the spot here, Dylan. Basically, it's like a dating show where the main character is gay. It's like it was a gay dating show. There's one UK version, one American version, and they had to find who they click with. But if it was like, there's also like a handful of straight men within the cast, and if they picked a straight man, then the straight man would go home with the money. But if they coupled up and found like a good pairing, they would go home with the money, right?
I don't know.
Really remember in depth the show.
I don't know if they
But
went home with the
basically,
money.
it was like
but they also the main person doesn't know.
Queer baiting the show.
Yeah.
It was the queer baiting show.
Yeah. But they don't know that the person's straight. I think I've seen a clip from this when they find out and he goes absolutely mental.
Yeah, so the thing is they have to play gay.
Yeah.
And get the guy by like playing, like being like, like getting him interested, and then at the end he'll find out like, oh my god, it was a straight man this whole time.
Yeah, but like the point of the show, like part of the reason why the show is actually quite bad is because only the straight people were in on that aspect of the show. So
yeah.
So it's gonna be a messy one next week.
Very messy. I promise you it's gonna be better than that terrible explanation.
Sorry, I did just put you on the spot there. Gosh, sorry. We have to end this now. I need to cry again.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for listening. That's all I have to say.
See you next week, guys.
See you next time. Just for I am a pro Holly Jervais.
Oh my gosh. I'm ending this.
Bye.
Bye. I'm an anti Holly Jervais.